Well, the first stop on the Mayweather-McGregor World Tour is officially in the books. We are here in Los Angeles inside the Staples Center. As you can see behind us, they are tearing things down. The circus is moving along to Toronto, Ontario, Canada on Wednesday evening. Let's recap, though, what happened in Los Angeles on this first stop. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. That, of course, is Marc Raimondi. Here on the Staples Center floor, a much different scene than just a couple hours ago when both Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor stood toe-to-toe for the first time. Overall, let's recap it from afar, and then we'll kind of nitpick certain things. What do you think of stop number one?
Good, solid first stop. I think it'll gain some momentum as the days go on. I think that just judging from people seeing it at home, it felt a little bit flat in the arena. It's not what UFC fans and MMA fans are used to seeing as far as press conferences go, where it's really just one person talking at a time. The MGM director the momentum kind of got lost. I saw people complaining about that. And Mayweather and McGregor, I thought they both did a good job, but there was less of a back and forth, which is what kind of makes the UFC press conferences so good and what makes Conor McGregor so good. It was more of an individual speech type of thing, cutting a promo, so to speak, more than the back and forth.
If this was a fight, if this was round one, who won?
I would give Mayweather a solid 10-9.
Wow.
Not a 10-8, mind you. A solid 10-9. I think that he did more with the mic time that he was given. I don't think McGregor really anticipated having to actually give a speech in front of 11,000 people here plus the media. I think he was anticipating more of a UFC style press conference where they're both at a dais, where they're both going back and forth. That's where he truly excels, and I think Mayweather, having the experience in these situations, did a little bit better today.
Did you notice that a couple times Conor tried to respond to Mayweather when Mayweather was speaking and it seemed like his mic was cut off? And do you feel like that was done on purpose?
Yeah, I did notice that after a while because I saw initially that McGregor had the mic in his hand, and I even tweeted, okay, this is good because this is now going toward what they need to do. They need to get that back and forth started. And McGregor started to do that, said a few things on the mic, interrupting Floyd, and then they kind of abruptly cut him off. Now, I'm not sure if that was something that was Showtime's decision or whoever was running the production in the back. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but Floyd didn't really talk during McGregor's speech either. Again, this is a whole different ballgame for the UFC, for Dana White, for Conor McGregor. It's a boxing press conference, not an MMA press conference. So I'm not. It probably was intentional, but it might have been more just the courtesy of not interrupting because Floyd didn't interrupt him.
It felt, at least to me, like Mayweather turned back the clock. Maybe 10 years ago, Money Mayweather, when he was brash and cocky and somewhat obnoxious. The last couple of years, when he was preparing for fights and doing press conferences, he was very humble and didn't want any confrontation. That was a different Floyd Mayweather. It seemed like he almost was expecting Conor to hit him below the belt. In fact, he said that to the media in the back. He said, I understand he's going to talk about certain things that are uncomfortable. And he came out guns blazing. And maybe that caught Conor off guard. I don't know. But I thought it was perhaps the most notable thing to happen on that stage was that this was a much different Floyd than we've seen the last couple of years. Do you agree?
There's no doubt about it. And I actually asked Steven Espinoza, the executive from Showtime Sports, about that when I saw him in the media room in the back. And he said it was a little bit out of character for Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't usually dial it up to that level of trash talk, especially not on the first stop of the tour. And I think it was because of that. I think it was because he was anticipating McGregor really coming at him in that way. And I mean, the Mayweather of past press conferences, this is a guy who's made just a ton of money. He doesn't have to do this anymore. He doesn't have to really ramp it up. People are going to pay for the fight anyway. You know, 4 million people watched the Pacquiao fight, Mayweather-Pacquiao. So he didn't really do any trash talking in that fight. So he doesn't have to do it. McGregor is in that position where he's doing it a lot in the UFC, where he's amping it up. So I think that he was kind of anticipating McGregor, and he dialed it up himself.
You mentioned the word flat. I didn't get that impression. I thought the atmosphere here was phenomenal. It felt electric. I mean, it was a circus. Jalen Rose is up there on the stage. Yeah. By the way, it was like 10-1 in favor of Mayweather's team up on the stage. There was no Artem Lobov or Owen Roddy. But I thought the crowd was actually really into it. And very much a pro-McGregor crowd. I thought it was like 90%. I mean, every time Floyd was on the screen, they were booing. Every time Conor was on, they were cheering. Were you surprised by that?
I was, and let me clarify my remark. I think that people at home felt like it was flat.
Okay.
I didn't feel like it was flat in the arena, and I was actually surprised to read on Twitter and on social media that they thought it wasn't that great at home, because I thought it was actually great because the fans were really responding. And to your point about McGregor and Mayweather and the fans being pro-McGregor, a little bit surprising. I think I kind of knew that was going to happen because Floyd is kind of the heel even in boxing, but I didn't think it would be all the way. I mean, it was almost 90% for McGregor. Floyd is wearing the American flag. I mean, he essentially draped himself in an American flag clothes in a tracksuit, and he's getting booed by the American fans, and the Irishman is getting cheered. So it did surprise me a little bit, yes.
Look, the purses may not reflect this, but I still kind of believe that McGregor is the A-side here. I believe that he has more of a connection with the younger crowd. And I believe that for a press conference thing like this, a tour like this, I mean, let's forget about England. It's going to be all McGregor there. I feel like his fans will come to something like this. And the Mayweather fans were here. They weren't as loud. I still feel like in 2017, the more popular combat sportsman is Conor McGregor. Look at what he's doing on social media. Look at what he's doing as far as his interviews are concerned. It's just a different kind of connection that he has with the people. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, maybe you are crazy,
Okay.
but not for that reason. I think that there is a lot of truth to that, because if you look at just pay-per-view numbers over the last 2 years, 3 years, McGregor is doing 1 million pay-per-view buys with people that are stars in the UFC. They're good, but they're not at that level. Whereas Mayweather's last pay-per-view against Andre Berto only did about 500,000 pay-per-view buys. McGregor right now is probably the hotter commodity as far as pay-per-view goes, but this is a boxing match. This is boxing. This is Floyd's world, and there is no boxer on the planet right now that is A-side over Floyd Mayweather. It's just not.
Initial stare down, it was interesting. Conor was doing like some capoeira style stuff, and maybe letting him know that if I wanted to, I could do a lot of things to you right now. Do you think come Toronto, come New York, come London, it will be a bit of a different McGregor, a more aggressive McGregor because he was caught off guard? Are you expecting him to dial it up a little more?
Absolutely, I do, and it already started during the print, because there was a video had their own press room, and the print reporters had their own press room. And at the print reporter press conference, McGregor and Floyd Sr.
Yes.
had a verbal altercation, and it went on for like 10, 15 minutes.
What happened?
Of them going back and forth. McGregor on the dais and Floyd Sr. in among the press. He kind of pushed his way to the front and was yelling things at McGregor, and McGregor at that time kind of showed the McGregor that we've seen in UFC press conferences, where it's more of a back and forth. Conor's kind of like a counterpuncher when it comes to trash talk, as well as the fight. He's very good when people come at him, maybe not as good when he's just giving a speech and no one is there to kind of bounce stuff off. And him and Floyd Sr. it was gold. It was absolute gold. We'll have a video on our YouTube page on MMA Fighting. I was right there. Floyd Sr. was standing right a few feet from me, and I was taking video. And that was actually the most entertaining part of the entire day for me.
When they squared off after the presser, if you will, Floyd Sr. actually got in there and had to be kind of pulled back by the rest of Mayweather's team. So clearly he's very invested in all of this. Yes. No sign of John Kavanagh, who I don't think is here.
Floyd Sr. actually challenged Conor to a boxing match tomorrow.
Okay.
So maybe it'll be in Toronto. I'm not sure. I guess stay tuned.
Speaking of kind of reversing roles, Floyd did say that he doesn't mind octagon ring, which I thought was a very interesting comment. Conor did call him out on that one. The mic was working, but then shortly thereafter, they pulled the mic. So overall, scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving this?
I'll give it like a 6.5, 7.
Okay.
I think the in-arena experience was better, and being here for the press conference in the back, I don't think the fans really got to see that. It wasn't really live in a lot of places. The in-arena press conference was live. Some of the backstage press conference stuff, which is great for the print media and great for us as media, and for our traffic probably most likely later on, was great. I thought that was the best part of the whole thing. So I think probably fans are used to the UFC presentation where you see everything. Everything's on YouTube. It's very easily accessible. Boxing is a little bit different, so that's probably why the fans didn't like it. But as far as us and being here in the arena, I think the 11,000 people here had a pretty good time.
This sort of feels surreal seeing them square off, right? Like this is actually happening. Like we've seen, the Photoshop images. We've seen like Esther Lynn has done it and stuff. But to actually see them squaring off face to face, and Conor with the pinstripe suit that actually says "fuck you," I mean that is pretty classic stuff. But when I first saw them going toe to toe, I was like, I can't believe this looks like a fake photo in front of my eyes.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I walked into the arena, and we were a little bit late. Things were running late. Dana White was in the back talking to the print media, and I walked into the arena, and Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather are standing on stage at Staples Center, and I'm thinking to myself, like, wait, like I know this is happening, but it really set in at that moment, like, whoa, this is actually a thing that's going to be a reality. These guys are actually going to fight, and they're both on the stage together at the same time, and they're facing off. What a weird, surreal experience.
Highlight of the entire thing?
I would have to go back to the Conor McGregor and Floyd Sr. thing, and you brought it up. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather Jr. were facing off, and Floyd Sr. came in, said something or was doing something, and McGregor mentioned that at the press conference, and that's when Floyd Sr. kind of pushed his way to the front of the press and started jawing back at him. It was entertaining stuff.
You gotta love Dana White getting in the middle of all of that. You know, taking any opportunity he can to get some face time, even though it wasn't really necessary. I mean, at the beginning they were squaring off, and there was no one near them, right? I thought, wow, this is really ballsy on everyone's part here. They could go to blows right now, but it seems as though there's some kind of gentleman's agreement, at least as of right now, to not touch each other, because they were, I mean, it could have really gone down right then and there, and I'm actually surprised it didn't. You?
Not surprised, because I don't think anyone wants to lose this payday.
Okay.
I think Floyd Mayweather has been there so many times before. I think he knows. He obviously knows what he's doing in that respect. I think they're gonna save it, but I do see it getting more intense as the tour goes on.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't know about you, I've never been in the vicinity of a $100 million check, and Floyd busted that out of a backpack of all things. Says he still didn't cash in the check from the Manny Pacquiao fight, just in case anyone was worried about his bank account, IRS, taxes. He just wanted to let us know that he's doing all right. I thought that was a nice touch. He came out, he came prepared, and that's not exactly something that I was expecting, considering how he's been in recent press conferences, sort of subdued. Fine, you say 10-9. Let's see what happens tomorrow in Toronto. We'll be there. You won't be there. Will you be there?
No, I will not.
You won't be there. I thought maybe you'd come along for the ride. We'll be in Toronto, actually going in a matter of hours, taking the red eye from Los Angeles all the way to the Great White North. Can't wait to see the fans over in Canada and see whose side they're on. I think that's somewhat up in the air. No, you think it's all
McGregor.
New York? You think Brooklyn will be?
McGregor.
McGregor, yeah, Irish. And then, of course, let's not speak of London. That is going to be 100% in favor of Conor McGregor. I think that's a safe bet. For now, we shall say goodbye. Off to Toronto we go. Thank you for watching our coverage of stop number 1 of the Mayweather-McGregor World Tour. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you from Toronto on Wednesday afternoon.